Well, hello, loves. Happy Sunday to you. Look at this happiness on a page. I just love it. The colors, with winter being what it is, this was perfect. So I am working on a 100-pound watercolor paper, and I've got the edges taped off because I'm going to frame it and sell it in the shop. But I'm starting out. I did gesso it. And now I'm just using my brayer and some cobalt teal fluid acrylics. I'm using all DecoArt Media products today. And these I'm using Titan Buff and cobalt teal fluid acrylics. And I'm just kind of getting some color down in the background, just starting the process, getting a feel for where I want this to go. I really had no idea how this was going to go today. It just came, and I love it when that happens. So I'm using lots of stencils today, the new stencils that are out this last week. This is Mediterranean Duo, and I'm using quinacridone magenta. And again, I'm using all fluid acrylics. This is nickel azo gold or quinacridone gold. I'm not exactly sure. All the supplies will be listed on the blog. The link will be down below in the description box. This is Scribble Marks. There are 3 of them, Scribble Marks stencil, and I love these. These are going to be a go-to for me. I just know it. But they have 4 patterns on each stencil. Oh, they're so fun. So as I'm beginning to build up this background, I am working in a triangle, and I talk about this often, and I'm creating what I call vignettes or clusters. And so as I work in my triangle, I attach each one to the next, the stencil pattern. So you can see I've got 3 clusters happening there, and then I'll start filling things in. But it's a good place to start if you're like, how do I even begin a background? Start in the corners or on the sides and work in 3s, and then build up from there in your clusters or your vignettes. So now that I've got some color down, I'm going to add some paper. And I didn't put the paper in the background because I wanted them to show up more. They still got covered up quite a bit, but they're there still, and it just always makes me so happy. And I'm using some vintage papers, just a bunch of scraps that I had in my stash. Real random, some tickets, some bingo cards, dictionary pages, butterflies. And they show up at just the right spots, and that is the magic. I put all of that down with my DecoArt matte medium, and now I'm coming back in with some black for some contrast and really kind of pulling the background together. And what I want to say is you always have to be willing to let go of the background to get the achieved effect or focal point or whatever you're looking for. So these are all the Scribble Mark stencils. They're just so fun. And so black is a really good neutral color, neutralizing, kind of brings things together, adds contrast. And again, I'm working in those clusters. I'm attaching each stencil image to the next. And now I start adding some color and start to unify the background so that it's ready for a focal point. And again, I'm working in those clusters. This is such an easy way to start a background when you're not sure where to go. Just continue to work in those same areas and then move them around just a little bit and expand them. Scratching in the paint with my charcoal pencil, adding some scribbles, and then back to adding some color. And I'm again using all fluid acrylics with some gesso mixed in as my white. And I like using gesso mixed in with my fluid acrylic because it gives it some grit, and that will help the next layers go down, or pencil marks, or different things like that. And I'm using cerulean blue hue, again, quinacridone gold or nickel azo gold, quinacridone magenta, green gold. Okay, so I saw another artist use these makeup brushes for blending, so I had to give it a try. And the jury's still out, and I'll talk about it a little bit more at the end of the video. But I can see some really great uses with these, and I'm going to explore them a little bit more and do a video. So now I'm taking some chalk pastels and just doing some more scribbles. And one of the things I like about this is that I knew I was putting more paint down, but that chalk pastel mixes with the paint and it gives it this really wonderful unexpected color, and I just love it when it shows up like that. That green gold next to that quinacridone almost purple color is just fantastic. I love, love, love it. And this background went through many stages, all of which I loved. And then I'm just going to cover it all up. But that's the process. And it's in the background stages that we learn where the piece is going to go. We get our inspiration, we get ideas, we find colors, we learn things. It's all so very important. So this is my Daisy 3 stencil, I believe. And I am just laying down the initial colors. And this is actually Indian yellow, or no, I don't know. I'll have the colors listed. This paint was actually a Americana paint because it was a little bit thicker and I wanted that thicker paint to get a nice crisp clean line. But Americana is also by DecoArt. And now this is my large rose stencil, and I'm using a mixture of quinacridone magenta and quinacridone violet. So I put the daisies down, and then I put the roses down, and I'm going to come back over and put more daisies because I wanted them to be layered on top of each other. I didn't want them to look like one single stencil here and there. I wanted them to really meld together. And I'm trying not to create a super even pattern all the way around so that it looks more interesting. So now I'm going to just come back in with my daisy stencil again and layer on top of those. And I love that look because it looks very integrated. And once we start shading and pulling everything together, it works really well for just having it layered and not look so stenciled. So now I really want to make sure that there's contrast between my stenciled images and the background. And so I'm just coming back in with a mixture of gesso and maybe some yellow, or gesso and some teal, a variety of light colors to really help those flowers stand out from the background. And I know you're thinking, oh, she's covering up all of that wonderful background. I know. I had a struggle with it, but you have to be willing to let go of the background. And all of those layers really do add just amazing magic and interest to your pieces. So now I'm just coming back with a mixture of the yellow and quinacridone gold and some magenta, and really highlighting those petals. And again, I always say use your stencil as a guide, and once you get a couple of brush strokes on them, they don't look so stenciled. And so I'm going to do the same thing with the roses, and it really just makes the colors pop, adds interest and depth and dimension. So I just purchased some water-based Sharpie markers, and I think I'm in love because it's like it's a paint marker basically with a really great tip, and I think I'm going to love them because they paint on everything. So I'm just making sure that I highlight the centers of the flowers. I'm doing dots and little circles. And then I'm going to come back with the white, same pen in white, and add some more dots. And again, that white and black again begins to start to neutralize, pull things together, add contrast, and it keeps the eye moving around the piece and really gives it some interest. It's shading time, so I'm just going around all of the petals, and I work between two different pencils. I'm using a hard pencil. This is a general charcoal pencil in hard, and then I come back with my extra soft pencil that I usually always use because the extra soft is more spreadable and it shades better, and the hard gives you more distinct lines. And I wanted that hard pencil for some more scribble-like lines and to kind of outline the petals because I didn't want it to get too dark, too shaded. I did know that I wanted that shading around the edges. And now I am using a white China marker and just adding some extra scribbles. I am now stamping onto a piece of tissue paper, and I will put these words down with my matte medium. I'll cut them apart and then put them down with my matte medium. And I love stamping on tissue paper. It's like foolproof. And so I did a few extra scribbles and some shading, and that is it, my friends. I hope that you enjoyed this project, and if you did, subscribe and leave me a comment. Any questions, I will get back to you as soon as possible. All of the description on products is in the link below in the description box on YouTube. And stick around for the message of this piece, which is always so, so important. Have a great Sunday. Hello, loves. Happy Sunday to you. This just makes me happy. The colors and everything and where it started, and there were so many spots in this piece that just made me happy. And it's always hard to cover up the background, especially when the background is really awesome, and this one was. But I always say you have to be willing to let go of the background to get to where you want to go and get this great piece. I just love it. And I'm doing something different too. I'm creating on, this is Bristol, let me see, 100-pound watercolor paper. So Bristol 100-pound watercolor paper, and I have it in huge sheets, and I cut it down. And I'm starting to do more art this way and selling originals like this so that you can frame them. So this will be available in the shop. And I have a whole bunch of other ones that I need to get matted and pictures taken and stuff like that. So anyway, look for those when they'll be in the shop sometime soon. Before we get into this, I just want to say thank you for awesome stencil sales this week. You guys are awesome, and we are working like mad women over here getting all of your orders out. Most of them should be in the mail by tomorrow if they're not already. I think we're about halfway through the bulk of them. So thank you, and I'm so excited about these stencils. You're gonna love them. They're so much fun. I used a ton of them in this piece, and it just makes me happy. Okay, so let's see, what else was I going to tell you? This week, by the time you see this, I will have been live on a DecoArt's Facebook page, and I also have a video on there on their YouTube channel, Deco Art Inc. YouTube channel, creating a really cool piece of hearts and wings and all kinds of stuff. But it's always fun to do something live because you get to see it real time, and there's conversations and questions and things like that. So anyway, I just thought I'd throw that out there. You can find it, and I'll leave a link to it below in the description box. And yeah, so I think, oh, I know what else. This little experiment in the middle of my video. So, okay, so I saw another artist using these brushes, which are makeup brushes basically, that they're using for art and blending, mainly blending inks, which I think would probably work really well for them. But I thought, well, what could I do with them? So I don't know that it's going to work out really well for paint, although it did blend it out beautifully. Trying to keep this brush clean, I don't know. But I think, look at these little tiny tools here. I think these would be great for pan pastels. I don't know. I know that pan pastels are, and the sponges that you have are there for a reason, but I just thought those would be cool for that. So I'm going to try that out. I'm going to do a video on that or something. But you gotta try fun things, right? Okay, enough chit chat. So this says, I would always rather be happy than dignified. And so I was looking through quotes for a piece that I was working on for a commissioned project this week, and I stumbled across this, and it made me chuckle, and I'm like, huh, right? I wish I would have learned that, a few years earlier. And then, of course, that's how these Sunday inspirations always happen. Something spurs something, and then I start thinking about life and how for the longest time I just couldn't embrace myself. I wasn't comfortable in my own skin, and I tried to chase away my weirdness, my quirky, weird self, the person who hoards old books and likes art and funky things and bright colors and has an odd sense of humor, and all of those things I really, for a long time, and I think it's still I'm still a work in progress, and it just continues to get better the older I get. And maybe that's just how it's supposed to be, right? I don't know. Sometimes you think people just are born comfortable in their skin. I don't know. My husband's one of those people. He's just himself. But it took me a long time to really be comfortable with all of the good, the bad, and the ugly of me, and just say, this is me, I'm working on it, and you love me the way that I am, and I will do the same for you. And I think when we offer ourselves that kind of grace, it makes us more able to offer others that kind of grace. And when we can accept ourselves for who we are then more likely to accept other people for how they are. And so I spent a lot of time trying to be dignified, trying to be somebody that I wasn't. And I'm much happier being happy and just me, and being weird and just me, than anything else. And I would rather be that than anything. And I just want to encourage you today to be you. So many of you, oh, you are so amazing. And of course, I don't know the depth of you, and some of you I do by correspondence and things like that, but I just want to remind you to just be you, to go for it. Be you, be vulnerable, don't be ashamed, and just live happy. I mean, gosh, we spend so much time trying to achieve or be something that we're not. If we could just learn to be comfortable in our own skin, it sure would change the game. I know it would have for me years and years ago. I mean, I'm talking like back in the day, because over the years I've finally Well, most of the time I'll say I am comfortable in my own skin. I'm not 100%, that's for sure. I'm not 100% in anything. But I just want to encourage you today that you are amazing, just the way you are. All right, loves, I hope your Sunday is awesome and it's wonderful, and I hope that you're creating or doing something that's bright and beautiful and makes you happy, and let go of all the other pretension and stuff that we think that we should do or be, and just be you, your wonderful self. All right, loves, happy Sunday, and always, always know that you are loved.